Judicial probe into the Rafale deal in France has reignited the political fight here in India. The Congress party has revived its campaign against the government. The Congress is now, in fact, also once again demanding a JPC probe. The BJP was quick to respond and hit back at the Congress party, reminding that several such attempts in the past to show the Rafale deal was tainted have failed miserably. $36 jets, a 60,000 crore rupee deal, and a big boost to national security. The deal between Indian government and French defense firm Dassault has been mired in controversy ever since it was signed in September 2016. 5 years later, as a French judge gears up to lead a judicial investigation in the deal, fireworks have begun back home in India. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi began the day with this post on social media, alluding Prime Minister's role in what the Congress claims is a massive scam. He followed it up with a tweet where he demanded a Joint Parliamentary Committee investigation in the case and mocked the centre's hesitancy over it. Attacks from the opposition continued. While Samajwadi Party MP accused the centre of looting in the name of national security, TMC's Mahua Moitra mocked the centre with this tweet. The CPM too issued a statement and demanded answers over the deal that they alleged was mired in deep corruption and money laundering. But the sharpest attack came from the principal opposition party.
फ्रांस ने तो जांच बैठा दी, दो में से एक ने तो जांच बैठा दी, दूसरा जांच बैठाना तो बहुत दूर की बात है, एक टिप्पणी नहीं, एक शब्द नहीं, और ये एक ऐसी सरकार है जो सिर्फ और सिर्फ बोलने के लिए जानी जाती है, वहां भी चुप्पी, और किसी चीज के लिए जाने नहीं जाते प्रधानमंत्री, सिर्फ बोलने में जाने जाते। द इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस repeats its demand that a fair joint parliamentary committee be constituted immediately and every aspect of the Rafale deal be investigated by this JPC.
Opposition's pointed questions are far from unnerving for the BJP. While they cited multiple clean chits to the central government over this deal, they accused the Congress of selling old wine in a new bottle to the people of this country.
Today, some inquiry in what angle we have no idea, but still it is a French internal matter with regard to their issues. But when an issue comes up, again the Congress is trying to demand JPC probe and raking up the issue. Is nothing but raking up, flogging a dead horse. And Rafale deal was an open deal. It was a no corruption or no deviations or no floating of norms were found by Supreme Court. So therefore, again raking up this issue by the Congress party shows that they have no issues to fight with Narendra Modi's government.
A French judge is not only looking into corruption and favoritism allegations, but also at a likely criminal investigation against the current French President Emmanuel Macron, an aspect the opposition hopes will open a Pandora's box against the central government here. And while the issue may be legally put to rest in India, with the top court of the country ruling that there were no grounds to order an investigation into the deal, the political battle is far from over. Bureau Report, Times Now.
You're watching the Newshour Special Edition Debate Number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Well, let's open this up and go across to our guests. Tonight, we're joined by NC spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Times Now's contributor and lawyer Shehzad Poonawala joins us as well, along with political analyst Gokul Chand. Good evening to all of you. I first want to go across to Mr. Chandran. Mr. Chandran, there are two things. One, the judiciary of this country has given a clean chit. And point number two is that this is a judicial probe which has just been ordered. It's not as if they have concluded that the deal was tainted. Then why is it that the chore barbs have returned? Why has the opposition started targeting the government once again?
Yeah, good evening, Swati. When we talk about the Supreme Court judgment, I want to raise 2 points here. In its verdict, Supreme Court has clearly told the government's internal mechanism will take care of the situation. That's what the court has told. The court has not told or given a clean sheet to anyone. They believe that the government mechanism will take care. But here what happened? That didn't happen. The trust of the court on the government was betrayed. And the other thing what court said was, the court cannot comment on price, and there are people, there is a negotiation team which is dealing with the price, so court cannot comment on the price. This is what Supreme Court told. As we believe, Supreme Court has not given clean sheet to anyone on the procurement. Okay. Now, if you permit me, I will give you a few points why this is a quid pro quo case. Okay, the first thing, do you believe it is just a coincidence that Mr. Anil Ambani in 2015 starts a defense plant buying 18% of the stakes from Pipau, and before 2 weeks of Prime Minister Narendra Modi announcing the French Rafale deal, Anil Ambani enters a MOU with Dassault. Do you think it is just a coincidence? Okay, let it be a coincidence. Now,
but doesn't Dassault have the prerogative of choosing its offset partners?
Yeah, I'll come to that.
Isn't it Dassault's prerogative?
Yeah. See, Dassault prerogative, there is a case. The CAG has clearly pointed out that there was a modification in the procurement procedure where it was modified that the offset partner can be decided later on, not while signing the deal. Why that modification was done? In earlier cases, while the deal was being signed, the offset partner has to be confirmed and they had to be included in the clause. But this was exempted. Why? The other case is that the Cabinet Committee on Security, they bypassed two important articles of DPP, Article 9 and 12, which would have helped to nab any corruption in the deal. Article 9, it is regarding the arbitration on the deal, if anything occurs later. And Article 12, it speaks about access to the books of accounts of the industrial suppliers. Both these clauses were dropped by the Cabinet Committee on Security. And clauses 22 and 23.
Okay, so let's take a counter from China NC. China NC, the Congress party and the opposition is saying that we still want a JPC probe. They're saying that Supreme Court cannot interfere in certain matters. The Supreme Court, although during its verdict had said you cannot compare apples and oranges when talking about the pricing as far as the Rafale jets are concerned.
Absolutely correct. And this is not about just a JPC probe. When do you ask for a Joint Parliamentary Committee probe? When there is prima facie some alleged corruption. There is none here. People across India have rejected Mr. Rahul Gandhi. He has forgotten how his issue in 2019 on Rafale boomeranged big time, because people chose and reposed faith in Prime Minister Modi. And this statement comes at a time when the Congress party really has nothing to talk about. After having heaped the choicest of abuses in the run-up to 2019, he has now stooped to this level. People across India have rejected both the Congress party and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and he is welcome to fight the 2024 election on this issue.
But that's a separate issue. That's a separate issue, isn't it? Can you just brush this under the carpet saying... Okay.
This debate on Rahul Gandhi
they make stupid statements. Have you heard his statement where he says three things cannot be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth? What truth are you talking about? The BJP is not using itself to compromise the country on any accord. The Prime Minister clearly believes nation first.
Okay, but
party
China
next,
and see, there are some
individual
serious
last.
charges
And
leveled, which
if
is
you're
why the
trying to
judicial
weaken
probe has been
India,
ordered in
if
France. Should that just be brushed under the carpet?
That has been ordered by France's National Financial Prosecutor's Office, the PNF, after the reports of which appeared, even in that there is nothing that has been found. So what are we talking about? If you want to constantly lie,
there is a new development of a middleman. There is a development of a middleman. Now many are saying that the government is not talking about this angle. The government is not talking about this development. Now, I take that question across to Shehzad Poonawalla. Shehzad Poonawalla left, in fact, goes on to say that it is embarrassing and it is shameful that this deal is being probed, that this deal between India and France is probed.
Well, first of all, let me clarify that there is no judicial probe that has been ordered. Technically, it is the assignment of a magistrate on a complaint by an NGO. Now, let's assume that is an embarrassment for us in the international forum. Then by the same yardstick, would Mr. Gokul Chand say that Sonia Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi are out on bail, not an assignment of a magistrate, out on bail? Can they be declared as corrupt? On the same parameter, a party which has been involved in perhaps every defense scam that this country has seen, right from the Jeep and the tank scam to the Tatra scam to the Bofors scam to the Augusta Westland scam, they should not have any locus standi. Now, let me answer some of the questions Gokul Chandran has raised. Point number one, sir, the Supreme Court of India on the pricing issue of the plane said very clearly that don't compare apples and oranges. It also said that don't please do a fishing or a roving exercise, and that was a judicial verdict by the Supreme Court of India. On the pricing aspect, there was also a technical verdict by the CAG which found nothing amiss in the pricing of the planes. Apart from that, there was a military verdict to the extent that the Air Chief Marshal, Mr. Dhanua, he had come on record and said that there was nothing wrong in the procurement procedure. And in fact, there was even a people's verdict where the people of India presented a mandate on whether Mr. Modi is a chowkidar, is a chore, or he's not a chore. But here is my point. My point is that Rahul Gandhi, look at the lies he says. He told that Supreme Court said chowkidar chore hai. Now today Gokul Chandran is also attributing statements to the Supreme Court. I don't know what Supreme Court may say about that. Mr. Gokul Chandran answered two questions to me. One, what is the price of the plane which UPA had decided to buy? Because Rahul Gandhi gave four prices in 4 months. One, he gave two prices
and
in
how
one
many
speech.
times has he changed his statement?
One second. He said 520, 526 crores, 700 crores and some other price. You tell me which is the price at which UPA was going to buy the plane. I'll tell you why you can't tell it. Because AK Antony said we don't have any money, so we are not buying these Rafale planes. In fact, for 7 to 8 years, you kept the entire deal hanging. You did not allow HAL to come on board. You did not solve the issues between HAL and Dassault, because of which HAL could not produce it. You delayed the getting of this plane, which was a necessary plane for us, of 4.5 generation plane. And because of that, China and Pakistan got an advantage. And now finally, when we have finally got this plane, which is important for national security, you once again want to scuttle this so that China and Pakistan get an advantage? Is this the reason why you're doing it? Because you have an MOU
Okay,
with
Mr.
China?
Chandran, respond to that. The CAG in 2019 had said that the overall price, in fact, was 2.86% cheaper under the NDA.
Yeah. We are not talking about the price. I don't want to talk about the price. Because
where's the corruption if there's not, you don't want to talk about the price? The Congress is synonymous with lies and myths. Today they lied about the Rafale deal again. If the countries,
then what is your objection, Mr. Chandran? Then what is your objection?
Against the charge of the financial prosecution, body orders, and the probe accordingly, it should be seen as corruption? Should it not be seen?
Okay. Mr. Chandran, what is your corruption if you don't want to talk about pricing?
Okay. First of all, from my point of view, I am not telling that Rafale is an inferior jet and the procurement of Rafale was a wrong one. First of all, the UPA had decided to buy Rafale and NDA just took on it. Okay. Why UPA couldn't buy Rafale? Because the agreement with HAL, the transfer of technology to HAL, was not coming to an agreement. The Dassault and HAL couldn't get into an agreement, which Reliance, that's why Narendra Modi got in Reliance into it by passing HAL.
No,
HAL clearly.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
This is not true. One second. Reliance is doing offset along with 100 other companies, and that offset clause is something that is there in the defense procurement procedure for a very long time.
And who's getting the maximum share? And who's getting the maximum share, sir? Would you not also talk about? Would you not also talk about what and how much DRDO is getting?
Bharat Forge, Kinetic, many other companies.
DRDO is not offset. It is not an offset partner. DRDO is, what is offset? You check the meaning of offset. In French, the offset is compensation. The offset deal is a compensation for the procurement which Indian government is buying from the French government, and as a compensation, Mr. Narendra Modi's good friend Anil Ambani is being compensated as a partner in this deal.
Sir, do you
nonsense. Nonsense.
No.
Absolute nonsense. The Congress.
Okay, Shaina NC respond. Respond to this charge that the Modi government is helping Anil Ambani, and he got into this deal because of the Modi government.
Before Shaina answers, I want to add 2 points why I am so much confident about this. Can I add, Shaina, with your permission?
Can I just please finish, please? I think she asked me now. Let me
so that you can respond. I'll give you 2 more points.
See, the Congress is synonymous with lies and myths.
No.
We have seen today that they lied about the Rafale deal again. 1 minute's been going. Please look at your leaders' statements in the past few years. You made it into an election issue in 2019. We saw the outcome. If a country, NGO, Sherpa, complains against a charge of a so-called financial prosecution body and orders a probe, it cannot be viewed or seen as corruption. The way Rahul Gandhi is behaving, it will not be an exaggeration to say that he is being used as a pawn by some companies. Lying right from the beginning on this issue, and probably maybe he is also acting as some agent or some member of the Gandhi family for for a competing company. If I want to go into a conspiracy theory, there are many stories one can spin. A judicial probe into this so-called deal where you have Dassault and them clearly saying that this fighter aircraft has been given to India at a much lower value, and that too without anybody being benefited. If an investigation has been initiated by the National Financial Prosecutor's Office of TNF, the judicial investigation has been ordered by France's National Financial Prosecutor as part of an entire conspiracy. Can we not just await what they're saying, and you constantly talk about Dassault to
absolutely, and that is the most important point. That is the most important point, because Sharad Poonawalla, on what basis is the Congress and the opposition training its guns at the government? If there is no objection, like Mr. Chandran said, about pricing, if there is no objection about the way the deal went ahead, and is it only Anil Ambani, who is an offset partner of Dassault, that has led the Congress party and the entire opposition to open this front against the government? What is the basis, one would ask?
According to Dassault,
Exactly. Swati, let me just clarify a couple of points. Shaina, if I may, just very quickly. Mr. Chandran has said that the pricing is not the issue. Now he's saying the offset is the issue. Mr. Chandran should know that offset is not a deal given by the government of India. Offset is a deal given by the equipment manager, the foreign equipment manager. It chooses on its own. And secondly, one second. What is the size of this offset deal? Can you please tell me? Because Rahul Gandhi has quoted multiple figures even on that. Actually, Mr. Nambiar, the Air Chief Marshal, has clarified it is 6,500, and that 6,500 crores has not been given to Mr. Anil Ambani alone. It has been given to Bharat Forge, it has been given to Kinetic, it has been given to DRDO and many other companies. So are you saying there's corruption by Dassault in giving it to all these companies? Because Mr. Holland was asked about this and he said that he does not know of any kind of pressure being put on Dassault. Now look at the track record of Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi said that, look, Mr. Macron has told me that all the specifications of these deals can be given in public. The very next hour, French government came out and said, no, Mr. Macron has not said this. Rahul Gandhi said, Supreme Court ne bola hai chowkidar chor hai. Supreme Court said, very next hour, nahi hai, aisa nahi hai. Rahul Gandhi quoted 4 prices for the same plane which his government never bought. Rahul Gandhi's government was not able to conclude the deal, and it in fact did not allow HAL to go ahead with it for reasons best known to itself. Rahul Gandhi's government first selected this plane, and then for some reason beyond our understanding, maybe because of Chinese pressure, because he's under contractual obligation with the CCP, he is now trying to scuttle this deal. Now I am asking you very clearly, Mr. Chandran, if the plane is not the problem, the price is not the problem, the offset is not the problem, what is the problem? The problem is that Rahul Gandhi,
offset is his problem.
He is not getting any commission in this entire deal.
First of all, Chesa and China.
Okay. Mr. Chandran, respond now.
Yeah, it is not the Congress party or Rahul Gandhi who are in presence now. Okay, this is Lieutenant Commander Gokul Chand, who has served Indian Navy for a certain period of time. I am asking questions, so you don't need to drag Congress Party and...
Okay, so do you believe Mr. Dhanua? Do you believe Air Chief Marshal Dhanua?
I not
Lieutenant Colonel. Sorry, I'm sorry about your rank. I respect your service. Mr. Gokul Chandran, do you believe Mr. Dhanua? Do you believe Mr. Dhanua? Yes or no? Is he a liar? Is Mr. Dhanua a liar?
Be patient, yeah. Be patient.
Is Air Chief Marshal Dhanua a liar?
So you are so impatient.
Okay, let Mr. Chandran respond.
Yeah, listen. That's why I told.
Go ahead, Mr. Chandran.
I don't want to dispute that claims by an Air Force officer, and that's why I told, listen, don't mock. Okay, that's why I told I am not touching the price part. I'm not a spokesperson of Congress Party of any political party. That's why I told we will not touch the price part now. Okay, let the things come out. After that, we will speak. But I want to know certain questions.
That's a very clever stand when you say let the things come out. And that's why I said, what is the basis of reviving this campaign once again and taking fresh jibes about chowkidar?
Yeah, I'll tell you why.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
See, the Prime Minister of India, the PMO opens up a parallel talk with the French government, and the ING has objected to that. In writing, the ING has told PMO has no business to run a parallel talk, and it is recorded. Why did Prime Minister of India and his office and Mr. Ajit Doval undertook a parallel talk to favor who? The second question, the then French Prime Minister has clearly said that it was Mr. Modi who asked for Anil Ambani to be fixed as an offset, otherwise compensation partner. Why?
France has a precedent.
Who said, sir? Who said?
Who said?
Has clearly
France has precedent.
The official has clearly said this is a compensation. The offset contract to Mr. Anil Ambani.
No, who said that Narendra Modi asked them to include Anil Ambani into this?
Between Dassault and an Indian company which constitutes a joint venture. What does the government have to do with this? The deal was between Dassault and an Indian company, and that is a joint venture. What does the government have to do? This substantiates the statement made by Mr. Holland, who said that the decision to appoint an Indian company as Dassault's industrial partner has got nothing to do with the Modi government. And the French...
Yeah, that is Modi.
You know, you say the price is not an issue. You said the offer is not the issue. What is the issue? The issue is that the Congress Party has no issue for 2024, as you did for 2019 as well. And please take this to the people, you will get a befitting answer.
No, I don't want to take it to people. I'm not going to stand
Prime Minister,
I'm not going to fight the election.
Okay, all right. But Shaina and C, before I wrap up, I want to ask you, is the government, if need be, Shaina and C, if need be, is the government ready for a JPC probe? Would the government want to come clean on this since the opposition is demanding a JPC probe?
On what premise, I ask you? Prima facie, there has to be an element of corruption. You can't just ask for a JPC and this. Look at this party in 2019, they made this the election issue. Fine, very well. People rejected it. Now you try to make a scandalous expose and trying to suggest, oh, there was corruption, there was treason, there is loss to the exchequer. On all fronts, you have been proven to be lying completely. You have the government of France also saying the same. You have Dassault as a company saying it was their choice who they chose to work with. This is the most honest Prime Minister the country has ever seen. And as a Pradhan Sevak, his only agenda is to ensure nation first, party next, individual last. He has walked the talk, and if the Congress Party...
Okay, before I wrap up, I think Shahzad wants to come in. Shahzad, make your point quickly. I'm short on time.
Yeah, Swati, I wish on this debate we would have had our very respected Maruf Raza Saab, and he would explain that finally when the Indian Air Force got the squadron strength and the jet planes that we really desperately needed, it is sad that Mr. Chandran, who served the Indian nation as well, is doubting the Supreme Court of India, doubting the CAG of India, doubting the Indian Prime Minister, the Indian government, the French government, and also is doubting the people of India who given the mandate, and he's trusting one Rahul Gandhi and one JP JPC that Rahul Gandhi wants. And if the JPC is constituted
I have a
and the
brain
negative
case,
report
sir.
comes
I have
back,
a
then they
brain.
say that this JPC
Okay,
is
I'm
also
not a
valid.
buck.
So, there's
I'm
no
not a
way to
fool,
win
but
against
I have
people
a
who
brain.
have facts and truth on their side.
I have a brain case, sir. I am not a
Okay,
buck.
all right. Shahzad Poonawalla, Mr. Chandran and China NC, thank you very much. That's all the time I have. I'm sorry I cannot give you more time, Mr. Chandran, but thank you very much for being on the news hour.